In today's lesson, I will be talking about differentiating project-based learning and problem-based learning. In the instructional topic, fourth grade students will be working on an earth science topic regarding renewable and non-renewable resources. Students will learn what renewable and non-renewable resources are, how they are used, and how they affect the earth. The next generation science standard that it is linked to is 4-ESS3-1, which says obtain and combine information to describe that energy and fuels are derived from natural resources and their uses affect the environment. The approach that we'll be taking in terms of project-based learning is that students will create a campaign that educates the audience on renewable and non-renewable resources and argue to support the conservation of non-renewable resources. In addition, students will have to explain how to replace non-renewable resources with renewable resources. Students will choose which non-renewable resource they are fighting to conserve and will choose a presentation method based on options provided by the Teacher's Choice Board. The approach in regards to problem-based learning. Students will create a problem solution digital presentation on renewable and non-renewable resources. The problem is the cause of the consumption of non-renewable resources and the effects of the depletion of non-renewable resources. The solution is the use of renewable energy resources, how they are effective, and what types can replace specific non-renewable resources. Project-based learning and problem-based learning similarities. Both PBLs afford students the opportunity to freely discover and manipulate content and standards in their preferred learning methods and techniques in order to actively engage them in real-world scenarios. Both PBLs encourage collaboration in learning with peers, teachers, and professionals. Both PBLs grow self-regulated learners. Quoted, self-regulated learners are able to set goals, plan a course of action, select appropriate strategies, self-monitor, and self-evaluate their learning. Both PBLs also develop skills such as research methods and processes rather than task-based processes. The approach to the topic based on both PBLs. Based on the similarities between both PBLs, students will be provided content information using visual aids such as video content, presentations, books, and articles. Audio support through lectures and professional discussions will also be provided, along with lab stations to work with different types of renewable and non-renewable resource methods. Students will also be provided with small group rotations for peer support, teacher support, and professional support in renewable and non-renewable resource structures and methods. Additionally, students will also be provided with modeled skills from the teacher on how to self-regulate learning. They will be provided with a rubric regarding expected outcomes for each PBL to teach them how to manage their own work towards understanding renewable and non-renewable resources while implementing research methods. Project-based learning and problem-based learning differences. Project-based learning is centered around a project, which arrives to an outcome that is then presented to an audience. Project-based learning is also has a cross-curriculum approach, which is applied along the journey towards the outcome and often expressed in the project as a means of supporting the outcome. Additionally, projects are academically rigorous. They require higher-order thinking skills and active exploration of content outside of provided material. In regards to problem-based learning, it is centered around a problem and designed to challenge students to apply their knowledge to solve the problem. The problem is typically presented following instruction and presentation of content within a standard. Lastly, it often activates prior knowledge and they need it to be applied to find a solution in a matter of correctness or right answer. In the approach to project-based learning based on those differences, students will be provided with clear expectations of the project. They will be provided with guidelines and an academic rubric. They will understand the purpose of the project and what options they have in order to present their information. They will also have support from lessons and other subjects that will be used and applied at this time. For example, persuasive writing will be needed in order to convince the audience to use renewable energy and to conserve. Math and data collecting will be used in order to provide evidence regarding the depletion of non-renewable resources. They will need to do a depth in the project. Students will be given extended time for project completion, and the project will be assigned for 30 days. Time in class and time at home will be scheduled during those 30 days. The approach to problem-based learning based on these differences is that students will be presented with a real-world problem that they will need to solve and provide an appropriate alternative. Students will also be required to determine the cause of non-renewable energy consumption and the effects of their depletion on the environment. Then they need to provide an appropriate alternative to the non-renewable resources by replacing it with renewable energy. An explanation as to why its replacement is a valid choice must be stated. Students will be required to create a digital presentation explaining causes and effects, not renewable replacements, and evidence for support. And here are the following resources that were used in order to support differentiating between problem-based learning and project-based learning in regards to a topic.